Hello, my name is Emily Hines, and the animal that I chose to talk about today is the Pacific seahorse. Whenever you first think about seahorses, you think of seeing them at the aquarium or the different photos that you see of them online and just how cute they are. But when I was looking for images to include in this presentation, I started to think that they looked a little bit creepy. So I decided to add images in this presentation that don't necessarily distort that thought we have about seahorses. So we can keep thinking that they are just these beautiful little creatures. But yeah, fun fact, Pacific seahorses have a bunch of interesting things, a bunch of interesting facts about them though, so we'll be talking about those today. Pacific seahorses get their name from being found in the eastern Pacific Ocean. They're typically found from San Diego all the way to Peru. They are nocturnal and found in subtotal habitats. Now, when going through my research, there is some debate on how deep seahorses tend to swim or how deep they can be found, but the general consensus is 60 meters or 200 feet. Here you can also see the scientific classification, which I am not going to go through, all these very hard to pronounce names, but one that I can say is that they're also known as the giant seahorse. Before doing this presentation, I didn't realize that there were so many different types of seahorses. There are over 47 types of seahorses known, but that is up to debate as well. So from here, we know where Pacific seahorses are found, their scientific classification, and that they are a mysterious creature who like to stir up a lot of debate. Some interesting facts about Pacific seahorses. So the Pacific seahorse is the biggest type of seahorse species, but it is still only known to grow to be about 5 to 8 inches roundabout. Their name, hippocampus, derives from the Greek words hippos and campos, which mean horse and sea monster. From just some of the pictures that we have seen already, and the ones on the screen now, we know that they are a variety of different colors, and this depends on the concentration of their pigment cells, which tends to differentiate, and then it also depends on their environment. Pacific seahorses, as well as other species, are also they're known to be used in Chinese medicine. This causes overfishing concerns, but now there's not enough clinical trials to back this up, but they are said to treat respiratory diseases and increase or balance energy flow through the body. So it's said that they are usually dried out and then mixed with herbs and boiled as tea. There are also some sources who say that they are used in pills. So that's an interesting fact. But the last one being that the tiniest species of seahorses is no bigger than a lima bean, and then the biggest is to be found to be a foot long. But like I said before, the Pacific seahorse, the biggest type, their average length is 5 to 8 inches. Pacific seahorses have some unique attributes. They tend to be born pelagic and grow up to be benthic. So they go from drifting with the currents, feeding on zooplankton, to making their homes on the seafloor and using their tails to attach to things. This also plays a role into how they feed themselves and what they eat, which we'll talk about on the next slide. But more about their tails, they're prehensile, which you can see in the photo, and that's what they use to be able to anchor themselves onto things. Their snouts are also super important because they don't have teeth, so they use their snout to capture their food. And they almost work like cat's whiskers, but instead of helping them see if they can fit into things, it helps them get into the crevices and hide from predators. So on this slide, you can also see the difference of a female and a male seahorse. You can also see the male's pouch in the front, which is where they carry the babies. Pacific seahorses eat things without an invertebrate, so things like larvae and plankton. They're eaten by animals like tuna, crabs, and rays. The list goes on, but they're in the middle trophic section of the food web, so they are considered to be secondary consumers. In terms of reproduction, the males actually carry the babies, so the female uses a tube to place the eggs in the male's pouch. The population of Pacific seahorses is unknown. There's no federal listing, but we do know that They have one of the largest distributions of all species, considering they cover the entire East Pacific Ocean. And we also know that their status is vulnerable because of their population. We can assume that their population is decreasing because of the overfishing and habitat destructions, which all affect the Pacific seahorse.